Dr. Brian Scott with you. Here we are, starting off a brand new week. It's the 23rd day of January, and we are continuing our insight to the end times. You probably are aware that all of our previous podcasts are available on our insightstotheendtimes.com website, and I would encourage you to go there to pick up on any of the previous episodes that you may have missed. We're studying this week in Romans chapter 1. Paul is writing the church in Rome in the first century, and he is really on their case. He said in verse 21, because when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but they became vain in their imaginations. Or as we shared last week, they became futile in their thoughts. New King James. Today we're going to look at vain imaginations in the King James Version, and we're also going to look at the fact that their hearts were darkened, and their hearts are referred to as foolish hearts. Interesting. Paul's writing to the church in Rome, and he's speaking to the Roman, the believers there at that church. It's as if he's speaking to us, and we can't overlook the fact that what he said then, he would be able to say to us today. Verse 21 says, they became vain in their imaginations. Why? Number one, they knew God. Number two, but they no longer glorified him as God, which means they no longer respected him, honored him, or adhered to his principles and his ways. So they basically now are ignoring God. It says they became vain in their imaginations because of their activities. That's where we are in the 21st century. Our nations, United States and Canada, and probably more nations around the world, have known God, but today we're not glorifying God. Certainly that's the case in North America. We're not glorifying God, we're not honoring God, we're not respecting God. Our church attendance, as a for instance, in the last 20 years has dropped significantly, way down. And because of that, and we're only looking at minimum church attendance of once per month. We're not talking about every week, we're talking about once a month, and it's way, way down. Now, to become vain has this meaning. Error, we're full of error, and our thinking is ruined. Our thinking's messed up. It says here they became vain in their imagination. So if you look at our society today, and the standard is they once knew God, but now they no longer glorify him as God, worship him as God, honor him as God, then we qualify. As a society, we qualify. As a nation, we qualify. That's where we are. So it says we became vain in our imaginations. The word vain means our thinking is ruined. It's full of error. Wow. That might explain a lot to you about the decisions that leaders are making today. The word imaginations from the Greek means it's their method of thinking. It's their mental awareness, it's their mental reasonings, it's their mental analysis, it's their mental acuity, it's their thinking process. So when you put the two of these words together, vain in their imaginations, it means that their thinking process, their mental acuity, their mental reasoning is error-filled, and it's ruinous. And I would say to you, that's where we're living. That's where we are. That's the kind of leadership that is decreeing things to us and mandating things to us. The statements that are being made, the conclusions that are being reached, the viewpoints that are being expressed lack rational sense. They are certainly lacking in spiritual sense. This is a bad place to be living. And these are dangerous people to be listening to. So to bring this to the, rubber hits the road, as the saying goes, Who are you taking counsel from? Who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Do you ever investigate where what their lifestyle is? You may have fondness for any number of people in the public eye, whether they be, in television programs, or whether they be sports figures, or whether they be political figures, or whether they be newscasters. But do you ever investigate where they're coming from? Because if they are no longer glorifying God, and maybe they never did, because that's really becoming a big deal in our society here in our country. Socialistic thinking is everywhere. Humanistic thinking is everywhere. It's all about me. It's all about me. Praise the Lord. Our church attendance here are really rapidly declining, and the type of churches that are growing are not really following a lot of the scriptures. So the bottom line is this: who are you taking counsel from? Who are you listening to? Whose counsel, whose advice, whose stuff are you prepared to act on? Many people that are in leadership or influential positions today are not people you should be listening to or following because of their vain imaginations. I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Bye.